In the next episode, Barak will be nowhere to be seen for a long time. This will make everyone suspicious. First Tibet, then Bera's sudden disappearance will not go unnoticed, especially by Tule. Tule will immediately start looking for Bera, questioning everyone around her, refusing to sit back and wait. Her instincts have rarely been wrong, and this time they are screaming louder than ever. She will leave no stone unturned, following every lead no matter how small. At the same time, Bera's mother will move into the house under the pretense of, "I'm looking for my daughter." Taking advantage of Bera's absence, she will want to both see her grandchildren and stay in that house, creating an uncomfortable tension in the household. The children will be happy to see their grandmother, but everyone else will feel the weight of her unspoken questions and barely concealed worry. Her presence will serve as a constant reminder that something is very wrong, and that the longer Bera stays missing, the harder it will be to keep pretending otherwise. Barak, meanwhile, will be unable to leave where she is because Serhat will have blocked every way out. Every door will be locked, every window sealed, every possible route of escape carefully eliminated. Barak will feel the walls closing in around her with every passing hour. Zeynep will also grow suspicious of Serhat's sudden disappearance and will follow him. When she finally sees Serhat and Barak together in a house, she will assume they have rekindled their relationship and will be deeply heartbroken. All the trust she had carefully rebuilt will crumble in an instant. Tears she refuses to shed will burn behind her eyes as she turns and walks away in silence. But this will be a huge misunderstanding because Serhat's only goal will be to get Bera to talk. Zeynep will distance herself from Serhat as a result, building a wall around herself that will be very difficult to break down. The silence between them will stretch into something painful and heavy. A silence that speaks louder than any argument ever could. Barak will finally realize there is no escaping and will ultimately confess, "I stabbed Tibet once, but I don't know where he is right now." The words will tumble out of her like a dam finally breaking. Months of fear, guilt, and desperation all pouring out at once. Serhat will believe the stabbing story and begin wondering where an injured Tibet could have gone. The need to find him will not come from concern, but from the burning desire to finish what was started. But he will not let Bera go until he finds him. Every hour that passes without answers will make Serhat more restless, more dangerous, and more determined than ever. Meanwhile, Nekhat will continue to keep Bera under his control. Nekhat is Kader's biological father. Previously, when Barak did not want to marry Tibet, she had informed Nekhat, but at the time he hadn't considered it important. Now Nekhat has a new card to play. His goal is to take ownership of the hotel through Barak. Nekhat is the kind of man who never acts without purpose. Every gesture, every word, every silence is part of a larger plan that most people around him cannot begin to comprehend. He has been patient for a very long time, and that patience is about to pay off in ways no one expected. With Tibet's disappearance, we will watch Bera take power into her hands. Nekhat will rescue Bera from Serhat and prove that she had no contact with Tibet, using his connections to leave investigators with no solid ground to stand on. His ability to move pieces on the board without ever being seen as the one moving them is what makes him truly formidable. So do you think something may have actually happened to Tibet? Perhaps he was seriously injured. Could Pelin even be trying to control Barak by saying Tibet is dead? Pelin has never been above psychological manipulation. Using fear to keep Barak compliant would be entirely consistent with how she operates. Even if Barak had not harmed Tibet, Serhat was already determined to kill him, because Tibet had gone after his daughter's life. The rage inside Serhat has gone beyond logic, becoming a father's fury that nothing can extinguish. Is there a chance Tibet will suddenly reappear? And if he does, will he come back broken or rebuilt into something even more threatening? Tibet has always had a remarkable ability to survive situations that should have destroyed him, and this time may be no different. Since the beginning of the series, we have been discussing the possibility of a sibling bond between Serhat and Kader. We know Nekhat is Kader's real father. In this episode, while Serhat and his siblings talked about their father, we heard Pelin speaking on the phone about Hayalet Bey, Mr. Ghost. This raises the possibility that Serhat's father is not Nekhat, but Hayalet, a figure who operates entirely from the shadows, pulling strings without ever showing his face. His very name suggests someone who has mastered the art of invisibility, present in every consequence, yet absent from every scene. When Tibet had asked who stopped that attack, it was said that Nekat Bey was called, strengthening the idea that Serat's father may be the true leader of the mafia. If Nekat's boss, Hayalet, is also Serat's father, he will never allow his son to be harmed. There is something deeply unsettling about the idea that the man orchestrating so much of the chaos in this story might also be quietly watching over one of its central characters. The dynamic between Nekat and Hayalet will become one of the most intriguing power struggles in the coming episodes. Are Kader's father and Serhat's father different people? Could two people unknowingly shaped by the same criminal underworld actually be bound by blood as well? These are questions the series seems to be building toward answering, and when the truth finally comes out, it will likely change everything we thought we knew. Tibet's absence will benefit Mustafa the most. Azra will tell him, Tibet has been busy lately, giving them both a much-needed breath of relief. For the first time, they will tend to their own needs without living in someone else's shadow. Their conversations will be raw and honest. Old wounds will be gently pressed, and old misunderstandings will finally find the words they were always missing. They will look at each other not as two people caught in someone else's war, but simply as two people who love each other and are trying to find their way back. It will not be easy. Nothing between them ever has been. But for the first time in a long time, it will feel genuinely possible. Perhaps this quiet period will be the most defining phase of their relationship. The absence of external pressure may finally give them the space to become the couple they always had the potential to be. But this will deeply disturb Sihan. Without Tibet as leverage, he will make harsher and more calculated moves to wear Azra down. She will be constantly humiliated in front of Mustafa's family, sometimes through silence, subtle looks, and polite indifference that hurts more than open cruelty. Eventually, she will feel there is not a single place in that house that belongs to her. The loneliness will become almost suffocating. Right at that moment, Sihan will be waiting with open arms, patient, polished, and self-assured, presenting himself as the safe harbor in a storm he himself has created. But Azra will reach a point where she would rather sleep on the street than return to him. She has seen enough of Sihan to know that his warmth is a trap and his kindness a calculation. If Azra is faced with the possibility of Mustafa being harmed, however, she will forget everything and rush back. That love, fierce and selfless, is both her greatest strength and her most dangerous vulnerability. Sihan knows this, and he is not above using it against her. Meanwhile, Ebru will catch Sihan's lies one by one and realize he is still in love with Azra, but will choose to ignore it, having fought too hard to walk away. She needs both money and a marriage to regain her family's approval, so she will try to marry Kihan as quickly as possible. The urgency inside her will be almost frantic. She can feel everything slipping through her fingers and will grip tighter as a result. But Sihan will never divorce Azra, and Ebru will not be welcomed back by her family either, finding herself caught between two worlds belonging to neither. The isolation will begin to take its toll, and she will start to crack under the weight of a life built on foundations that were never solid. Just when everything becomes even more complicated, it will be revealed that Ebru is pregnant, and she will want to keep the baby. For Ebru, this child will represent something she has been searching for all along, a place to belong and a bond that cannot be dissolved. This unexpected development will completely change the dynamics of every relationship around her. Sihan will be stunned, Azra will be shaken, and the question of what this child means for everyone's future will hang over the story like a dark cloud, heavy, inevitable, and impossible to ignore. Whatever comes next, one thing is certain. The arrival of this baby will force every character to make choices they have been avoiding for far too long.